to come on here. Mary's going through Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, and said, "Oh wait, I think we just did something. I think we just signed somebody. I think something just happened."
Everson Griffin is a Dallas Cowboy.
Spoonie,
Yes, sir.
how you feeling, my friend? Now,
Oh, listen. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Hey, thank you, Steven. That's all I asked for.
yeah,
Oh,
is that all you asked for? Just one signing.
That's all you asked for?
That's all you asked for.
oh my God. Let's go, Cowboy Nation.
As
That's a great way to
usual,
start the show.
In the
yeah.
game.
What a little bit of a different intros we got going here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in, Cowboy Station Stargate affiliates to the Stargate Live. Obviously, right before we got on here, in case y'all didn't know, there is breaking news. The Cowboys just added 4 minutes for the Vikings defensive end. Everson Griffin is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Everson Griffin is officially a Dallas Cowboy. Sign off with it. Let you know what it is. We see Spoon. We know what's going on with Spoon right now. He's got the music going. He's partying. He's just happy for a signing. It's not a safety though, Spoon.
Hey. Y'all said, as long as we power up that front seven, we'll be fine. And we just powered up that front seven. There you go.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now
Ian.
the Dallas Cowboys pass rush now features DeMarcus Lawrence, Everson Griffin, Gerald McCoy, Alden Smith, Tyron Crawford, and once reinstated, Randy Gregory.
Yeah. So, once again, if you're just tuning in right now, Everson Griffin is officially a Dallas Cowboy. It's true. We have signed Everson Griffin. We're waiting for the details. Ian Rappaport literally broke the news right before we came on, saying that it was a surprise that he is headed to Dallas as we speak right now. So the Cowboys, perfect timing for us as we get in here. They have definitely added a stout, all-pro type pass rusher to come on in here and fortify this front seven even more. And Mary, run their names down again. Run their names down, these pass rushers we might have now.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Woo.
Everson Griffin.
Yeah.
Tyrone Crawford. Alden Smith. And Randy Gregory once reinstated.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, that's now we'll have to wait and see what the deal is. I'm going to go ahead and guess now it's going to be a 1-year deal. I don't think it's going to be for anything longer than that. I'm sure it's a 1-year rental. But neither here nor there. One of the key things that we actually have on here today we're going to talk about was the press conference. And Jerry even said them being back in-house gave them an opportunity to maybe add some pieces here. Right?
Yep. And also today was the first time that teams were allowed to have people come to their facilities
for visits, right? Yep.
For once in I can never remember, the Cowboys did a signing that was pretty quiet, like a big signing that was pretty quiet. Like it was all coming out that the Seahawks were interested in them, that the 49ers were interested in him.
The Packers were interested.
The Packers, and it was just, or that he might stay with Minnesota. It was, fans wanting him, but, for the most part, they were like, oh, we're not interested right now. Maybe later, type of thing. And it actually happened. So that's cool.
Yeah. So, Everson Griffin, once again, former defensive end Vikings, coming to the team. So, hey, Spoonie, look, he's all smiles. He's happy, and I put it up here in the corner for everyone to see. I might need to move that because the live up there in the corner might be blocking that. Let me move that. I actually, since Jerry had to say this today, let me move it over here real quick. My sticky note that says grace. And right before we, how prophetic literally 2 minutes before we come on, we were graced with Everson Griffin signing, so Norton here with the GD. Whoa! We got somebody checking in from the YouTube. What's up, my buddy? What's going on, Parker? Thank you again. Once again, guys, we're on YouTube Live as well. Go get us and follow us over there on Stargang as well, YouTube or Facebook. But let's get into it. Obviously, off the top, we had roster moves anyways. We did have roster moves. One of we had Javonte Johnson come back off of the COVID list, right? And we also had the cornerback, former Alabama, Sylvia, come back, and they cut one of the fan favorites, maybe to come in a wide receiver, maybe battle for that 4th or 5th spots. And Rodgers got the boot.
Yeah.
Got the boot. Spoonie, I know you were big all, the entire time of Rodgers. He's gone. I mean,
he's okay now that we've signed everything.
That's right, because now I can just do this right here and put boom. Cowboys signed D. Griffin.
Yeah.
Bo Allen's in the middle. Let's go. What's going on, Allen? Thank you for tuning in. As always, warm ones your way, I hope, my friend. But again, to get off a cloud 9 for a second for Spoon here, your guy Rodgers is definitely up out of there. We kind of talked about this before. When we had the debate about how many of these undrafted rookies can make the team, and I said, man, if 3 or 4 undrafted rookies makes the team, you might be in a bad spot. And that's why I was always in that 1 to 2 range, maybe 3. But the idea that 4 or 5 of these guys are going to make the team means your roster's in really bad shape. And we kind of feel like this roster's not that bad, right? So he was one of the first ones to get out of here, kind of giving us an idea maybe we're going to go at wide receiver. John B. Johnson again coming back in the building, getting up out of there. But nobody wants to talk about the Rodgers and what you call it, in the comments section. Fake right now. What do you think? I'm getting Griffin in here. Give it on a scale of 1 to 10. How big is it for the Cowboys? On a scale of 1 to 10, everybody in the comment section, let us know. Chime in. Mary, what do you think? How big is this for the Cowboys to get everything Griffin in the building?
I think it's. I'm shocked. They are surprising me a lot lately. I think it's close to really important. I mean, we talked about that Kent battle. For the other spot, opposite D-Law. And, we have some questions over there because Randy Gregory's still not reinstated. He's rusty. Alden Smith, he's rusty. Tyron Crawford, he's coming off injury. So there's a lot of questions. And so I think this is huge for us. There's no more question about that spot. Like, we have a guy who we know can get to the QB. And one great thing about him is we don't lose a comp pick for him either. He doesn't. Comp formula.
Yeah. Mark Cantor's tuning in to see you're not feeling too well, brother. Hope you feel better, but hey, we got a defensive lineman for you. How about that? Cantor's giving it an 8 as well. Nelson with the big 100. Spoon on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think? Adding Griffin to this defense. What do you think that lands at for you?
There was a certain movie called Varsity Blues. Where what's the guy's name? The real big guy on the team. The favorite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They asked him already, right? They asked him already from 1 to 10. And I'm gonna impersonate what he said.
Okay.
A 10. A fucking 10. That's what it is.
I love
That's
that.
What it is. That's what it is, Cowboy Nation. Hey, listen. You know what? I need to really, really start saying that Stephen Jones ain't gonna do this, because when I say he don't do it, he does it. And guess what? Through this whole time on Star Game, we've always talked about adding that pass rush between Clowney and Griffin. People was like, you know what? I like Clowney, but I want Griffin. Clowney's the brand name, but Griffin is the fit. Everybody's been saying it. Griffin over Clown, even non-Cowboy fans. So we got to celebrate this. We have to celebrate this. This is the greatest. This is now, unfortunately, I know we get to the Randy Gregory topic. That man has to do with it. But guess what? They addressed it. That's what I love about it. You got a 4-time Pro Bowler here. A guy who knows pretty much of the defense because of familiarity with the coaching staff. I loves it. You brought a veteran attitude. I loves it. Mary just named us some names. My God. Yeah. I haven't heard, man. So the last time we played the 3-4, you can say DeMarcus Ware and the other guys. This is the time right now. We're saying names out there. Names.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Once again, we got breaking news coming in as we're talking. The Cowboys just signed Everson Griffin before we came on. Give it a like, give it a share. Let's spread it out to Cowboys Nation. Let's get them in here. Spread the good word. For me, Griffin, I look at him. He's 32. Back to the scale of 1 to 10. I see everybody's super hyped. We had Brent McDowell with a solid 7. A lot of 10s, all the F-bomb 10s. Billy Bob was the guy that you were naming. Chop dropped it on you a little earlier. Robert checking in with the big bam. Mendoza checking in saying he's late. What's good? Awesome. Time for some Crown Reserve. But yeah, not that stuff that my wife bought me last time, though, Chop.
Yeah,
I think for me, I mean, I look at it 32. I mean, we know there was kind of some little issues maybe last year or whatnot. I think it's I'm in the 7-8 range. I'm in the 7-8 range. And again, it kind of goes back to this. How much of a 3-man front are we going to play versus a 4-man front? Now, maybe this gives us an idea that we're going to be more in a 4-man front, going out and getting this kind of guy. And look, and for me, I love it because now that you're telling me we're going to put Poe and McCoy with Gallimore in that rotation right there in the middle and have these guys on the outside of that 4-man front to go eat. I like that a lot. I like that a super lot. You know, if I know that we're going to be playing a 4-man front, 75% of the time and up, my numbers kind of go up on how much of it, how important it is. For me right now, I think it's 7 to 8. 7 to 8 is where I'm at. And Mendoza, we are going to talk a little Gregory later on. We got that on the list. We just had the nice update here with Griffin, but I'm gonna give it an 8. How about that? I'm borderline 7-8. I'm gonna go with that 8.
I'm leaning towards an 8-ish, maybe 8.5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, we talked about Crawford can man it. He's good against the run, but all the pressure. We talked about Bradley and Nate probably is going to start behind as far as the Thelman, maybe start behind D-Law. But what is Alden going to give you? What is Gregory coming back going to give you? So, I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, you solidifyly replaced Robert Quinn from last year, right? I mean, definitely you knocked that out of the park. The front four is ready to go, and it looks a lot better now. Even that front four does, for sure.
Less questions.
Spoon, Spoon, you okay?
Oh, I'm good. Listen, I'm with you guys tonight. I got my little bottle right here of a nice warm wine. Cowboy Nation is here with us. I'm having a good time. Oh, I'm excited. Excited.
Chop, no info yet. Like I said, literally 2 minutes before we came on, it broke. So if I'm guessing, it's going to be a 1-year deal. I would be very surprised if it's more than a 1-year deal. That's kind of how all these things are kind of being done to free up cap space for next year. A lot of guys are taking rental deals to maybe get back into them, especially with it being 32. Now, if it's something that maybe he wants to be with Edwards and the Cowboys might want to do something a little long term, maybe a 2, maybe a 1-year deal with a team option or something. But I'm feeling it's going to be a 1-year deal. Guys, what do y'all think on the deal? Y'all think it's going to be a 1-year deal or?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the trend is these 1-year deals. I think that's probably, heavily incentive based. We know it's not going to be too much because we know who we're dealing with here. So
right.
I think it'll be a 1-year deal. No more than like $6 million.
Yeah. And just like that, Spoonie's forgotten about Jamal Adams, 33.
Hey, listen,
Why'd you bring that up,
Listen, I got a new nickname for the defense.
Are you going off of Mendoza here, the Swarmed Earth defense?
Oh, no, that's a good one, Mendoza. I like that, Mendoza. I like the SED. I got WAP, WAP.
Oh, we're not touching that.
Yeah, what a pass rusher. Pass rusher. That's what it is. Hey, DJ, what was he thinking I was thinking? I said, what a pass rush.
I don't know. It could have been wings and pizza, good sir. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good too.
It could have been wings and pizza. I don't know. We might not need to touch that. We might get banned. But once again, I guess before we move on, because we do have a lot of topics, but obviously, right in the building, we had to bring this up as we were coming on. Everson Griffin, for those that are checking in late, is officially in the building for the Cowboys as just in time, right? The first true practice comes in just a couple of days. So, what better time than now? And again, as we're going to get into we had the training camp press conferences today, the opening training camp press conferences, where finally, we saw Jerry, and he is alive. Jerry's alive and well. We saw Mr. Jerry Jones, and he got to speak. And of course, one of the key things he did say in that conference was being back in some of this bubble stuff or whatever. they had an opportunity to, look and maybe bring somebody in. And obviously, just a few hours later, they brought in Everson Griffin already. Definitely use the term grace a lot, as I decided to go and get up here on the screen for us. This episode is going to be brought to you by the word grace. Out of his press
said it about 17 times, I think.
He loves grace. He loves
Yeah.
grace. But with that being said, what did you think overall about the press conference, guys?
So I don't know. It was. I think he came prepared for all those controversial questions. So to me, I think he did a job of not saying anything too controversial. I think there are people on one side who wanted him to say, to repeat what he said from 2017. Then I know it was another side that wanted him to completely change the stance and say Black Lives Matter and all that other stuff. But I felt like either one of those situations, he would have gotten dragged way more. I think he did a good job of staying neutral. And to me, hopefully it means that he's willing to listen and he's more open to the idea of the players expressing themselves the way they see fit.
Yeah. Spoon?
I loved it. I love every minute of it. This is the time where the last time a situation like this was addressed 2 years ago, they tried to twist his words. I love how he stood silent until the press conference and basically spoke his mind. And he's very clear and everything. He said he basically respects everybody's stance. But I loved how he also addressed everybody. How 2 years ago when they did try to the players, they had intern issues. How he told us how they stepped up to try to remember this is still a team. Keep the team first. See, again, media loves drama.
Real quick,
that's how the ratings go up.
Some of y'all get here quickly. That's all we've been talking. They signed him. Yeah.
That was our breaking news moment, guys.
As we came on, y'all got to get in here. Y'all got to get in here early. That's what we led off with. But go ahead, keep on this one.
No, but I love how Jerry addressed the situation with everything. Even when it went to Stephen Jones, he took it right back, and he went into details on the situation that happened 2 years ago with the players and the steps they took to basically let everybody just get along with each other and each other's differences, which is important. He addressed that, and mind you, there were certain teams who had issues in the locker room, locking each other out, don't come out, forcing other players to make the decisions they don't want to make, and a lot of that of course the media won't put out there, but Jerry pretty much said, I took care of my team, and going forward, I would support whatever player understands. So I loved it.
Yeah, Jerry was very well prepped. Obviously, he was ready for the questions. Obviously, the tagline "Grace" as we got on the screen here for sure. What he was all about, and how he was going to explain that. And grace is. What do you mean by grace, Jerry? It's that good old in between word of I'm saying grace and I'm empathizing with all sides, but I'm not really giving you clear answers. Jerry was out there in one of his best terms. He was out there circumcising a mosquito today is what he was doing. Jerry was in rare form as it pertains to how he was handling that situation and not falling for any of the pitfalls and not obviously made sure to key idea to say that, great job by Dak sending the letter to the Oklahoma governor, whatnot, different things that they attacked and how they had groups and stuff, how they attacked it 2 years ago. So definitely did that. I think one of the things for me in the press conference, one of the outside of that stuff that we knew was going to happen, was the question brought up in it was about Stephen and Willie McClay and them in handling the draft going forward, right? And this was a pretty good itinerary from what Stephen's answer was, talking about that, they have to wait and see who's going to play. Obviously, there's players opting out. Obviously, there's conferences that are not going to play this year. And with him, he even kind of brought up that Joe Burrow had said that, he might be, working in business trying to sell stuff and not, getting drafted if there wasn't a season last year, and saying that how him and McClay in the scouting crew is definitely going to have to look at, maybe a year ago film, different things like that, and have definitely a different approach as it pertains to this draft coming up. I thought that was a very interesting question, and sometimes Stephen also give you some of those images. I think he gave some really, really good answers when it pertained to how they were going to handle this year, as far as scouting and draft and stuff like that. I thought it was a little bird's eye view of that. And then the other thing also that I'll take, I already talked about Jerry talking about being able to add somebody. We see the effects of that. And then I'll take one more thing from Mike McCarthy and just talking about on the field and getting the players together and how things are working and getting them ready to go for their first camp on Friday, or first actual practice on Friday. Man, you can tell he's excited. It just feels different when he speaks a little bit. Obviously, we've heard the same mundane thing for 10 years, and that's no knock against the last generation, but you get a new voice, and we talk about it a lot. Sometimes a new voice makes you feel different. I know from my standpoint, hearing him talk is just like, man, it seems to have a little bit more command of the room, even though this is virtual, not face-to-face kind of stuff, but it just seemed like McCarthy had a little bit more command of the room and what direction he wanted to talk about and get into.
Yeah. I mean, there was so much going on with this press conference. But yeah, I mean, I like where things are headed. I'm excited for Friday because I feel like they do have a group of the 80. I know Stephen Jones mentioned how he was worried about cutting it from the 90 to the 10 already, to the 80 already. But they came and they did we didn't have to, it was relatively easy, honestly. When it was all said and done, we didn't really feel like we really lost somebody that we were like super, 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 super like expecting big things from. So, and then this signing, so for once, like I was wrong about him saying, oh, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to sign a few more guys. Like I think BJ and I were like,
0%.
We were like,
gotta wait for an injury. Yeah,
we were telling Squinty to calm down. It's not going to happen, but he really, they really did want somebody.
Slid one in there, and we're getting to Randy Gregory. He's definitely on the list. We're going to be talking about Randy Gregory here in a little bit. We've had a couple of people already here. He is definitely on the docket. Not the only press conference we got today, though. This one had a little bit more sauce to it. A little bit. Dak, once again, as always, in very in command of what was going on. Off the rip, say, hey guys, not all at once. Going through things, even speaking about, it's not only about my mom anymore, it's about my brother. Hey, people got to go through stuff with the empathizing people, talking about the contract situation. And the one thing with both of them not being on at the same time, but they both had the same message, guys, about Dak and saying, hey, he's going to be here long term. Neither side seems to be worried about it. What'll happen will happen, and they'll get through it. Anything from the Dak conference that y'all heard that kind of said, ooh, okay, or oh, okay, yeah, par for the course, or anything in general that you took away from the Dak press conference?
For me, in general, like I was just so impressed with how he handled all the questions. They were so thoughtful. You can tell that he is actually a real thoughtful guy, that he's not up there just saying something to be saying it. You can tell he's wants to be here, that he's excited for the season. I don't understand how any fan, like Cowboys fan, could come away from that press conference still not liking him. Like you sit there and watch him and how well he handles himself, whether he was talking about the controversial topics or whether he's talking about his teammates. I think that he's a great leader to have. The Cowboys are very blessed to have him. So they need to pay that man.
Right. And, something that Steven said as well is that we can't sign him during the year, but it doesn't change the fact that we can't talk and work on that deal throughout the year. I thought that was kind of an interesting little tidbit there, since deadline makes deals, but now he's talking about, well, during the year, maybe we can do stuff. We're in the building now. COVID maybe kind of held some of the process up, or whatever the case may be. Spoonie.
Oh, man, I loved every minute of it. And I love what Mary said about how he wasn't just there to answer questions, but just talking. You could really tell the emotion behind it. Just like point out where they asked about his brother, and you could see right there. If you look at his eyes, you could see his eyes was getting kind of watery right there. But he stuck it out, and he said what he said. He goes, we got a lot of people who go through a lot of the same things I went through. It's no exception. We got to keep moving forward. and we gotta do our part, which is very tough. He mentioned that his brother was the reason why he played quarterback. I love the fact that when they asked him all the hard questions, like what happened during the deadline, he came out and he said that, listen, I'll tell you this right now, we got close to it. Basically got close to it, but he feels so confident that with him and Stephen Jones and his agent and top friends that they'll get a deal done this time around. And it was, again, you got, when it comes to certain players who basically just doing an interview, you can see when they just answer me questions, say what I gotta say to move on. He actually stood there. He didn't even rush the reporters. Like, for instance, if they say, oh, how about this? You go, well, which one you want to hear first? That one and that one second. Which one? Anyone. He wanted to be there. He was up. He stood there to the plate to challenge the reporter. Any questions you got for me, I'm gonna stand right here and answer all of them until you got no more questions. Yeah. And I love that. And again, like Mary just pointed out, you cannot. I don't know how a fan cannot feel so good about this type of guy being your quarterback.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
they want to see him on the field. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone knows about the leader of men, but for them and their eye test or whatever the case may be, they want to see wins. And that's what it boils down to. At the end of the day, they want to see wins. No matter how good we feel about the gentleman playing quarterback for us. And he's the exemplary of what you want as a franchise quarterback. And even though we believe and see what he did last year and that big growth that year 3 again, it comes to wins. Winning cures everything. And that's what's going to have to turn a lot of these people that have a lot of negative stuff to say.
It reminds me of BJ, man. It reminds me, a long time ago when we was kids and we in kindergarten, and they always, they tell us stories about like the little engine that could, or don't give up, X, Y. Dak Prescott is the example of all of that.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you want to knock him down, he proves everybody wrong. He's moving forward.
I mean, he said it himself, like his fire is big. It burns so big, so bright.
Yeah.
Like it just, and it's just continued motivation for him. So.
Right. So, and again, guys, as we're checking in here, for those that came in late, we let off the show with breaking news in case you haven't heard yet. The Cowboys have added all-pro former defensive Minnesota Vikings defensive end Everson Griffin.
And I got a detail on that. It is a 1 year in length.
Okay.
So, but there's no performance incentives, but it does have roster bonuses.
Okay. So there you go. So basically, what we thought, figured a 1 year deal, get him here, get a year out of him, and then kind of move on. But for sure, for those that don't know yet, Everson Griffin is signed. He's in the building. So the defensive line, we think at this point, and the 4-man front is going to be Law, McCoy, Poe, and then Everson Griffin heading into the 2020 season when we line up there in LA in the new Rams Stadium. Big addition right now. Be interested to do anything else. I threw it out there. I saw some people talk about the Logan Ryan's agents kind of doing some work. I wouldn't mind seeing a Logan Ryan come in here, but I definitely like the get of Everson Griffin for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts. Also, with that being said, the Cowboys kind of taking a little back to the next thing, kind of taking a little page from the NBA. They kind of have their own bubble for training camp.
Yes. So for those of you who have ever been to Frisco, or even if you haven't, to the Star, it's like a huge, nice complex. It's the stadium with the turf in the front, or the facility with the turf in the front. And there's like restaurants and stuff over there. There's even like a club over there, and there's the Omni that just like connected to it. So all of the players are, as Dak said, 90% of the players are going to be staying there, and it was just a way for them to try to get the team together in their own little bubble, so that, for guys who, driving home every day or being exposed to other things, or didn't want to be around their family after coming back from practice and need a little bubble to, stay safe, keep their family safe. Everyone can just stay at the hotel in their own little camp bubble, and it's being paid for by the team. So
definitely
in there for the duration of camp, and maybe on into the season as they see fit, basically.
Yeah, good move by them. I mean, obviously it's working in the NBA, so why not, take a page from that, use that, shows that they're committed. The guys that are here that haven't opted out shows that they're committed and they really want to get this thing rolling in the right direction and get to play. Spoonie, maybe something the whole entire league should kind of look into.
Hey, and listen, this is why we're calling America's team. The best uniforms. We got the have a great stadium, right? You remember the unlock of that stadium? I mean, then after that, you've seen teams start falling in and want to upgrade the stadium. I mean, we was on TV doing a real show of 4th and Long, right? With to see Holly, he won that contest. I mean, this was about. We always the first one to do something that looks interesting, that looks good, that attracts the folks. And my thing is this. I mean, has anybody? I want to go. Has anybody went to the Star yet?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone.
Yeah. I mean, that looks nice. So I have the practice hotels and this is what the Cowboys are about. Mm-hmm. They always want to be the first one to do something and let everybody fall in and learn it and observe. That's what it's all about. And I love this idea. Any means necessary to keep your guys healthy. And again, it's like Jerry Jones says, he wants to perform in front of fans.
Yeah, he already said. Yeah, that's a big one. 50%. If it goes to 75%, he'll let them in. They have things worked out where we're going to have fans in the stadium.
That's the ambitious to get things going, not just for your team, but for the fan base. For everybody to be attracted. This is why we love Uncle Jerry. Yep. This is why we love Uncle Jerry.
7% Cowboys fans have never been to the stadium. That's a mad low number, but only 7%. So, obviously from a revenue standpoint, it makes sense, right? They want to get fans in there. As we're hearing, and back to your point there, Spoon, as we keep hearing of, teams about there's going to be no fans for 2 weeks, or no Redskins came out and said no fans all year, so on and so forth. The Cowboys are the first team to really come out and say, oh, we're going to have fans.
So we're the only team in the NFC East right now that's having fans.
Yeah. That's having fans. So, I mean, one, that definitely helps your home field advantage per se, But again, we got to see how this thing plays out once, the weather gets colder and how this virus moves around or whatever the case may be. But definitely on record saying that we're going to have. I mean, at the end of the day, Jerry wouldn't speculate the number, but I mean, let's do the math. I mean, if you can sit 10,000 people, you can do 50%. I mean, 10,000, 100,000 people. Well, then you can fit about 50%, 50,000 people in there, maybe, give or take. Depending on how they go about the social distancing. But now this does bring up a thing because this was actually the topic that we had already lined out before us coming on with Everson Griffin getting signed to the Cowboys for 1 year. Let's two-part this. Let's tack the rants that he's had against the NFLPA representative who's to the point blocked him. What are your thoughts on far as the rants and the back and forth Gregory's had on Twitter?
I mean, I feel like he thought it was his last resort. He's been very quiet for, a long time since a lot of this has been going on. You rarely see him tweet anything. And when he does, it's nothing like this. This is really the first time we've seen him go on this kind of rant and calling people out. And I mean, I'm sure he feels backed into a corner. I mean, the NFLPA is supposed to work for the players.
Right.
And if he's really emailing them and calling them and keeps asking what's going on and they're not getting back to him, I mean, that's a problem. And so, I mean, I can't really blame him because it has been a long time, and camp started this week, practice starts in 2 days, and it's like he still is in limbo. I mean, I think there's been times that they suspend him and, he doesn't really talk much about it. He doesn't try to make a lot of excuses. Maybe even if they would have just said, we're not reinstating you, maybe he, at least that's closure for what, what I'm saying? They're not just leaving him hanging with no information. I think the issue is that there's just no information at all. And I mean, it's not right to play with somebody's career and their life like that. He knows he messed up and he acknowledged that in his tweets. He said, but, let me know, like, it's not right to just leave him hanging.
Right.
Smoney?
And now listen, basically everything Matthew said, and it's bad. It's sad that, and I said this in the past show before related to what's my man's name from the Seahawks now.
Yeah.
That guy. So basically, I have said before, you could be a nice guy, come to work on time and everything, and end of the day, you the one that doesn't get what you deserve. But the one who comes late all the time, the biggest, loudest mouth in the room, and everything, they'll get everything entitled to him. So with Randy Gregory, he's been quiet, and nobody has really heard him being so vocally like this, and the things that he was saying, and it got everybody's attention because he's quiet. All we know is him being spending, and that's about it. But him now talking about it, him saying that, listen, I've done everything necessary. And what I loved about it too is the accountability. When you able to not dismiss your mistakes and where it got you at, but to say, listen, I understand my mistakes, but I'm going forward. I've done everything right to get better as a man first, to get back on the field as a player. You're taking that from me. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. I really do love that, because it shows that he just not one of those people who basically they want everything to them, but they don't understand the wrong that they've done. They haven't learned from it. It kind of tells you he's learned from his mistakes. He wants to get past it and get back on the field. But when you want to throw mumbo jumbles at him, he's like, "Oh, what's this? Listen, answer my calls. You're ignoring me. X, Y, and Z. What's the issue? If you're gonna, I'd rather you tell me no, you're not being stated, than you're playing these games. I want to be around the plays. I want to get better. The thing is this: there's only one man who could punish you. That's the man upstairs. Don't punish me by not answering my calls and my emails." And you can see the guy, what's his name, Josh Briggs, is basically trying to play the game. Well, yes, you just call us X, Y, and Z, but then he blocked them. That shows that you are playing the game, and it's sad. What I hate the fact that when you got players who leave the game, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the brothers that you went to war with, your brother who went through certain situations. Right. We're all human beings. What I'm saying, we all human beings here. Don't treat me like I owe you anything, or I got to beg for my job. Go through the protocols the right way, the same way I went for the protocols for me to get back in the game. And I love every minute how Randy Gregory handled it. I loved it. And going forward, the eyes will now be on guys like Briggs and whoever's in charge.
Yeah, the thing that I didn't like from this standpoint, with Briggs being in the NFLPA and it's supposed to be the representative, for handling this situation, is for him to hop on Twitter and say, "Gregory, well, you got my number and email. Oh, you should have email in your inbox now." Yeah. It's not very professional from the players' organization. Someone should have picked up the phone and called him, and there should have been some kind of contact. Where's Mr. Troy Vincent right now? Maybe getting involved here some. Look, Gregory. I'm thinking he felt cornered, last resort. You get blocked on Twitter even. It's a little redundant and ridiculous at this point that you went to a Twitter battle for a player that you're supposed to be representing anyways, instead of saying all you had to do is respond to Gregory and said, "Hey, I'm about to call you right now." Boom. Handle it behind the scenes. You're supposed to be the guy, in the Players Association that work for the player. You work for the player. You're not supposed to be out here, kind of throwing little slugs and then blocking, the guy that you're supposed to be working for. I don't like it. It just sits wrong. And I definitely understand Gregory's standpoint. I understand some people probably are not going to like how he handled it. But if you feel like it's your last course of action, what are you going to do, right? Now, with that being said, the Cowboys have still said all along they believe he's going to be back. Now, hey, we are getting to the 9 hour, if you will. I don't think the Griffin signing does anything as far as Gregory's position on this field. Do y'all think this is a signing that they're saying they're just washing their hands, or do you think this matters?
I think that, it's just they never expected it to take this long, and so, like we said, camp is 2 days, or real practice is 2 days away. So they're kind of thinking in terms of they have to proceed as if he's not going to be there. Because even if, let's say, in a few weeks we get an answer, he's missed half of camp, and then we have a game in like 3 weeks. So, he's not going to be ready regardless. And so you need a veteran guy over there so that you don't have as much questions on your defense. So, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think when or if he does come back, I think that they will welcome him with open arms.
Sponey?
Yeah, I think Randy Gregory is not off the table yet with this. I think he eventually will get reinstated, but like Mary hit in the head. He's going to be kind of cold because he's not here at camp. Camp starts Friday, right, Mary? I believe Friday, USA.
Yeah, well, camp has started, but like real practice where they'll be on the field together is
right. So,
yeah.
Right. So it's the days. Every day that you're missing is very vital. But I'm gonna say this, like I said, when it all boils down to this, I think eventually once he gets reinstated, it will be somebody as a backup, maybe who may get released from this. I think when it comes to the situation we're in right now is that we have no holes. Whether we don't have Gregory, and I think it'll be a 3 times plus once he gets reinstated, and that's just more depth in the pass rush rotation. Then we could really do any game a 3-man front or 4-man front, however we want, with Randy Gregory coming back. And I think he will come back. But to me, it's very disgusting how a player has to go out all like this just to get the fair treatment. And I want to say this. I know there's a lot of fans out there who feel that Randy Gregory, I mean, look, he did it to himself. No, there's no lie behind that. But at the end of the day, when he was failing those multiple tests, it wasn't because he was slipping. It was because he was missing appointments because he was locked in a facility. And anybody who knows about when you go to these facilities and you're locked in, you are locked in from the outside world. So when it comes to urine tests and stuff like that, if the NFL says you got to do a urine test, you got to do a urine test right there and there. If you don't do it, that goes against you right there. You can get suspended. And those are the things that happened to Gregory at the time when I believe in 2016 when he played the last 2 games of the season against the Eagles, and then they suspended for the playoff. That's what brought up that he missed a couple of appointments because he was locked in the facility, and the NFL knew about that. So it's not like he's out here, just smoking, just doing drugs every time he come out. That's not the case. It's basically the language and mixing with his actions of what he was really doing. He went into rehab. He was in rehab this whole time. He had a family. And once he had that family, he was shaping up the right way. It's like Jerry Jones says, he may be an ugly baby,
but he's our baby. Yeah. And of course, just to think about this for the defensive line this season. I mean, again, D-Law, Everson Griffin, Gerald McCoy, Dontario Poe, Alden Smith, Tyrone Crawford, Neville Gallimore, Randy Gregory, and hey, maybe if Tristan Hill comes around even. It's
pray.
Yeah, and the Bradley and Nays of the world as well. Don't leave him out there. What can Dorrance Armstrong bring? What can Joe Jackson bring? Definitely a lot of numbers there to see what's going on. But again, back to the Gregory standpoint for sure. I think there's still a place for him on this roster if they can get it done. I mean, we know they even talked to the NFL front office. Steven was on record saying they were trying to get some things where he could just be in camp till they get through it. Don't know what the holdup is, but there should be something. Go ahead, Mary.
So I was right. $6 million deal.
1 year, $6 million.
You see,
One year, $6 million. Ooh, I'm right. Me and Steven on the same cheat page.
Oh man.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be no $10 million deal.
And listen. I will pay a check just to see Mary and Stephen Jones in the same room during negotiation. Hey, you're gonna be sweating. The sweat will be pouring down on that piece of paper. Like, damn, I'm looking at a copy of this.
Back to the breaking news. Everson Griffin, is it $6 million guaranteed, or is it like so much and then roster bonus? What you got on the Griffin deal?
$6 million deal, $3 million base salary, and $3 million in roster bonuses.
Boom, there it is. So, I mean, basically, anytime after the season starts, they can get out of the money if they wanted to. Obviously, a great deal here for a 1 year deal. 1 year, total $6 million if he's here for the entire year. $3 million base, and solidifies. A little bit of a hole. Maybe they add something else in the secondary. I don't know. Maybe Maybe they
Right.
Don't okay, look, don't get
People don't do it.
Don't get
Maybe
Spoonie
don't do it.
gassed up, okay?
Maybe.
He's got a full tank already.
maybe Logan Ryan come in, give us a little safety help. Maybe, I don't know,
You know
but
what?
He
Hey,
said 2 players. Hey, $3 million base salary.
hold on. Now, Steven did say add 2 pieces. He
Said 2
did.
pieces.
Now, Spoon, you do owe Steven an apology because you cussed him out pretty heavily.
you did.
You did cuss him
Y'all
out.
remember that, right? Yeah, remember that, did you? Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, kind of remember.
Okay, y'all, if you were in messages with Spoonie when he was talking about Stephen Jones, me and BJ are just like, calm down, bro.
My guy was losing it. He was losing
It
it.
was rated R, yes, right? It was rated R.
That was rated like
Very much so.
NC-17 talk,
I'm sorry,
right?
Stephen. I'm sorry, Stephen. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
But again, the other thing too is we're talking about the Griffin signing. At the end of the day, it's just more flexibility too for whatever we want to do in the 4-3, the 3-4. This rotation now you can even do more with the rotation. It kind of goes back to if we go all the way to the very beginning of whenever we talked about back in the draft, right? And I said, hey, go get a CeeDee Lamb that can add maybe 3 points and get you averaging 30 points per game. And when you're putting up those points, the one thing that you got to really be able to go do is go get the quarterback. And they are definitely doubling down. And Mike McCarthy, let's bring that up too, said he wants all the pass rushers. I mean, that's in one of his early press conferences talks about he wants all the pass rushers they can possibly go get. And since they added some beef, McCoy from the deep tackle, they added, and then they went ahead and drafted Bradley and right for some more edge. So they went and got Alvin Smith, okay, and now here you are going and getting Everson Griffin. So again, we're seeing some of the stuff that the head coach that talks about come through fruition, and help out. And Sizemore says, "Come on, Spoonie, give us a heartfelt public apology to Steven." He's got to sign one more, Spoon. I'm not Spoon. He said 2. He said 2 pieces, right? He said a couple. Everson's huge.
He did say a couple, but you know what? I can't. This was big. This was used.
No, it does not, Mendoza. Mary already brought that up earlier. It does not mess with the comp. I forgot what the date was. After a certain date comes and goes, whatever you sign afterwards does not mess with the comp formula whatsoever. So, yeah, this definitely won't hurt the Byron Jones or the Quinns of the world extra picks that we're going to get. It is not going to affect that whatsoever as it pertains to adding Griffin or, anyone else that we decide to add.
Yeah.
Maybe a linebacker, maybe a safety, Logan Ryan. I don't know.
Hey, listen, Griffin was a big piece. I know I said earlier, somebody tagged me about Logan Ryan. He went to all the NFL teams and his agent.
Yeah.
Corner, I could play corner or safety. Somebody tagged me. I was meh. But now that we got Griffin here, which is a big piece, what we did for that pass rush, and if you give me a longer line, listen, I'm on board. That's a great. It's a great. You want to get better, and listen, this team. I don't want to say, and I know I'm on the board with Mary because Mary said she would not say what she normally would say until the team gets ready. And it's like I'm feeling the way the roster is coming together. It's like, how can you not feel the way that this team might do some damage this year?
Well, another nice nugget on Everson Griffin. 91% of his snaps, he lined up at the right defensive end, and of the last 2 seasons, and every single one of his 13.5 sacks came from the right defensive end spot. So,
oh yeah, and last year he had 8. And what was it? 8.
What's going on, Jay Tuck?
What's up?
So, once again, it's just another solid piece of this defense. But
I like what Devano said about making sure the defense isn't an issue, Mike McCarthy, because that's a good point. a lot was said. I mean, Spoonie went on a rant about it before about Ted Thompson and how, he wouldn't get him any help on the defense. And so the offense always had to carry the defense. And, ultimately it didn't get him anywhere because the defense would fall apart in the big moments, in the playoffs. And so I do like that. It seems like whether it's McCarthy or his defensive coordinator or his line coach is having a say in, I'm feeling a little, uneasy about this side. So, let's go get some help. And that's a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, and once again, the biggest thing too is what happens here. It's right in line with what they did. You went and got former first round picks or all pros of defense. Look, it changed from bargain shopping to just paying bargain prices, and there's a difference in there, and that's kind of what they do. And as of course he just and Cowboys fans always checking this. Does this mean we move on from? No, the Randy Gregory's still in the fold. He's still in the fold for the rotation, especially with some of the 3-4 looking fronts. With that, obviously there's a little bit of hesitation of what's going on, and we just broke down some of his rants and what's going on with the NFLPA really not doing their job, if you will. But no, we all here on this show definitely believe that Gregory is still in the fold. We just don't know when he's going to get there. And yeah, I mean, those are absolutely, and he can play inside as well. Griffin. I think obviously they're going to have him for that, peg him up for that right defensive end. That's the perfect what we needed. And look, love Crawford, but now it kind of gives him a little bit more flexibility to be inside, be outside, and just get that rotation. And I mean, my goodness, I mean, if we told you before before the season started, hey guys, your starting defensive ends are going to be D-Law and daggum Everson Griffin, you'd be like, what? Nah, what? So I mean, huge get for them. And again, back to Spoonie with the Ted Thompson and never really finally added like a Peppers later in A-Rod's time up there, but never really going out and doing a ton of letting the quarterback carry. Was obviously for me personally, I want to see a little bit more depth maybe at linebacker. Of course, that the 10-ton elephant in the room, we're going to continuously talk about safety until we know for sure if a Cheeto's moving to safety or not. But if they want to add another piece, though, we'll see here, wait and see. Interesting to see that they made sure they get it done before the first official practice Friday, and maybe that's giving us an idea if Steven's true to his word from a few weeks ago when he said he was going to add 2 pieces, if they get this other piece added before Friday gets here as well.
It'll be an interesting week.
It's already. I mean, Wednesday's been interesting enough, right?
Yeah.
But, it's about to really pick up now.
Another piece.
So is Everson going to join the bubble?
It's a good question. That way, 90% of the fans there. Good question. It's probably cheaper for him. The team's paying for it. I'm sure he doesn't have a house down here. So I'm going to go with yes, he will join the bubble. The only thing about it is, guys, it's you're gearing up, but man, a lot of these guys will not be here next year. From the ha-has to the Alden Smiths to both defensive tackles to Griffin. Hey, it's all good on paper right now, but this is a one and done type situation. I'm not saying this isn't an all-in kind of move, but I mean, the pieces they added have kind of made it seem like, hey, can we get this defense good enough with this offense to maybe make a run at it 1 year and then maybe figure this thing out, in the upcoming drafts, if you will. I know it's a huge question mark that we've talked about on this show for a long time. We kind of just penciled in Crawford. I even said I think Alden Smith gets a chance to start there. I think at this point now, for sure, Everson Griffin's going to be your day one starter, and now you get the best of the rotation, right? Of Alden coming in and Gregory when he gets back in here and things of that ilk. Huge gift for this front seven. Go get the quarterback. Go score a ton of points. Go score 30, 35 points a game with the score-strength offense, and then let those guys pin their ears and just go kill and get after the quarterback. Spoon, I haven't seen Spoon so happy in the show in a long time, Mary. I can't deny it.
I mean, it's been a while.
He's smiling. He's not ripping paper up.
Yeah. He's been pretty upset these past weeks.
Listen, you know what? You guys have done a great job with me with the lasso. Come on back now, Spoon. Listen, it's been a long time coming, man, and I'm finally seeing something so similar of a roster to maybe the 2007, maybe the old 92 roster. I'm not trying to, say what I think we can do, but I will say that we are becoming that team that it's like this the plays we got on board right now. We going from Garrett being replaced by McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning coach. We going down the timeline, seeing you guys reaction when we got CeeDee Lamb, which was huge. We didn't see that happening. We kept on whipping it, and the football guys say, "Yo, I'm gonna plant this on y'all right here." Bam. And that quickly let go of the Randy Moss and when we didn't draft him. This CeeDee Lamb thing was big. Then we go with the all season with the fast draft that was used, right? Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, we didn't get my hashtag Route 33.
Yeah,
but you gave me the WAP.
Well, he hit you with that.
Give me the WAP.
Hit you.
What a pass!
He hit you,
and I love it.
Yeah, he hit you with that old Players Club. He did something to make you feel better, Spoon. That's what he did. He did something to make you feel better. He did. Do something to make me feel better. Steve
Yes.
All right, I'll go get Griffin. Yeah, I see Spoon in the backseat of the car. Just go do something to make me feel better. And Stephen Jones said, "I got you. I got you. Let me go add a piece for you one time. Something to get excited. That's all you asked for. And look, and to be clear, all you asked for was one big signing.
That's what I asked for. That's it.
And look, and now the honeymoon is wide open again. And now the honeymoon
just in time for on-field practice.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase is back with Mike McCarthy in the front office. Look, Jerry showed up on the screen. Boom. Here come Everson Griffin.
We've solved a lot of problems today. We solved the Jerry issue.
Yeah.
We solved the D-line issue.
Thought he was there and see. We had the D-line issue solved. We got some issues. We got some Gregory issues. Okay, we'll get there. That's all right.
We heard from our starting QB. He has blessed the season.
Yeah, he has blessed it. He's ready. Said he's happy as hell to be a Cowboy, which we already knew that anyways. Good vibes leading up, and then of course, hey, we've seen it all off season. It's only about what time is it? Hitting about 9:00. Cowboys like to do little deals a little late. Maybe see another adding between now and Friday before they actually get on the field for the first official practice and not like the phase 2 trainings and whatnot. With that being said, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us as always. What a great time to be alive. As we obviously, you see on the bottom, we got Everson Griffin in this thing. Follow us on Star Gang, right? The page, follow it, join the group. YouTube, we're over there on YouTube as well. Find us on Star Gang as well there. Hit the notification button as always. We will be back probably a little bit sooner with practice kicking it off, and maybe we get another signing. And if we get another signing, Spoon's going to lose his mind. I'm just going to put Spoon on the screen and walk away and just let him go for about an hour and let y'all deal with it. Anything you got for the people before we get out of here, Mary?
Let's get this camp started, man. We are 1 month away from meaningful football, guys.
Yes. With fans in our stadium.
Fans in the Cowboys Stadium. The testing so far is less than 1% have tested positive, and no really serious cases. So everything is on the up and up, man, for this season to start on time and to continue on. And
Tuck, that's what Jerry does. He said he sold me today. I'm not going. That's what he does. That's what he does. Spoonie, anything for the people before we get out of here?
You guys hear that?
Uh-oh. I can't hear it. I can't hear it, Spoon.
You sure?
I can't hear it.
You sure you don't hear it?
No,
I can't hear it.
I can't hear it.
Hey, yo, Cowboy Nation, I'm back. Celebration with Coogan and Gang and Star Gang in the house. Indeed
it is. Indeed it is. Hey, y'all know every week you catch the Cowboys Report at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We got training camp coming up on deck starting Friday officially. We'll be right back at you. Hey, enjoy it today as Spoon's doing out there. Celebrate the fact that we got Everson Griffin in the building. We got the right defensive end for this year. It took us a little while. Pass a drink over here real quick for Mark there, Spoon. Pass a drink over there, Spoon. It took us a while to officially replace Robert Quinn, but we got him replaced, and now we're on to the real deal Holyfield. Let's see if we get some other, maybe one more piece. Logan Ryan for safety. Keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens.
I'll be happy with that.
Appreciate y'all
Keep
rocking
it
with us.
going, Keep it going.
Keep it going. Hey, doo-doo-doo.